hopefully there'll be another takeaway this morning besides washing your hands. No, I appreciate the opportunity to present this morning. And what I wanted to do is to share with you a little research that we've done in the small to mid-sized business space, and specifically around how it is that they feel about SaaS-based applications and how you can market to them, either directly or if you're working with a partner that has, for example, a marketplace and gives you a variety of options that you could use to reach out to SMBs directly. So what we do as an agency is two things. We conduct research among small to mid-sized businesses, which we, for lack of a better definition, think of as companies with up to 500 employees. Many of our clients define them differently. And we do a monthly survey called the SMB Pulse of 500 principals of US companies. So I know a lot of you are from, not from the United States. And so if you were to do a survey in your home country, your mileage may vary. But this particular piece of research was done in the US with a principal, so owner, founder, partner, managing director, someone like that, of companies with up to 500 employees. We do stratify the sample by size, but we weight it back. We did it in December. And what we asked, and I know there's a lot of data on each of these slides, so I'll take you through this, was first and foremost, as a small business principal, so again, CEO, owner, founder, what keeps you up at night? What are your biggest business challenges? And we gave them this list of options to respond to. And we just said, is it very challenging, somewhat challenging, not at all challenging? The blue bars are the weighted responses for the percent of folks who find each of these concerns very challenging. What we've done here is just broken out the respondents by company size. So on the right, in the kind of gray is what we call very small businesses, under 20 employees. The kind of light blue is small business, 20 to 99 employees. And the gold is mid-sized businesses, 100 to 500. The little letters, by the way, that just indicates where the responses are statistically significantly different. So, for example, the bigger businesses, companies with more than 20 employees, are much more concerned about dealing with competition than our very small businesses, significantly so. And so what you'll see is for the smallest businesses, they're most challenged by finding new customers, and they tend not to have diversified revenue streams. They tend not to have a lot of cash in the bank. So they always need to find new customers to, keep the cash going, to keep the doors open. Whereas bigger businesses in a full employment economy are actually most concerned about finding good employees. So if that's something that your application addresses in any way, then you're definitely in a good spot right now. You'll find for them, retaining employees is also a big challenge. And then for bigger businesses, again, 100 to 500 employees, their biggest concern, the thing they're most worried about, is data security. So, whether or not you actually offer a security application, or if you can say, our application is going to keep your data secure, that's a really key messaging point to the degree that you're targeting, ultimately end customers, again, with 100 to 500 employees. So anyway, that's their business challenges. The next question we asked is, in terms of cloud terminology, and again, this is to the business principal, this is not to the IT director, they're gonna have a higher, level of familiarity. So overall, I know these terms are not necessarily synonymous, but there's the highest level of familiarity with the term the cloud. So again, to the degree that you're messaging around, the cloud versus SaaS versus hosted applications, the cloud is going to be the term that's most familiar or least kind of threatening. And as you would expect, we didn't break it out here. The bigger the company, the more familiar the principal is with each of these terms. Here what we asked, and again, there's a lot going on this chart, and we're always impressed with the patience of our survey respondents to wade through some fairly long questions, because we said, for each of these different kinds of applications on the left, tell us, and again, for the number of folks who are using each of these applications, so for each one, a different percent of respondents is using different kinds of applications. But we just said, are you using it in a cloud, or is it, in some way locally resident? And we've just rank ordered each of these application categories in decreasing order of likelihood to use it in the cloud. And it's interesting, there's quite a bit of variability from, other than website kind of analytics, marketing automation like a HubSpot or Marketo, Eloqua, CRM, Salesforce automation like a Salesforce, for example. Those tend to be preponderantly hosted in the cloud. And this actually continues. We give them a very long list of application categories to wade through. And so the applications that, at least on a weighted basis, are least likely to be hosted in the cloud are kind of specialty applications, expense management, customer service. What's interesting, and we didn't break it out because it gets to be a monstrously complicated slide, is when you look at the usage in the cloud of each of these applications, the percentage increases really sharply by company size. So for example, customer service help desk. For very small businesses, those under 20, about 25% of respondents who are using it use it in the cloud. For the biggest businesses, 100 to 500 employees, 75% of those who use a customer service application are using it in the cloud. So to the degree that, again, you're marketing to bigger, small businesses, they're much more likely to, first and foremost, to have a fuller suite of applications and much more likely to use those applications in the cloud. So, conversely, there's a huge kind of education opportunity for very small businesses around what is the cloud and what are its benefits and why should your business migrate to it. Cloud adoption outlook. This is for the folks who are planning to acquire any of these applications. So again, the number of each respondent varies for each of these different application categories. But we just said, if you're thinking about buying it this year, next year, at some point in the future, do you plan to adopt it in the cloud, use some sort of SaaS base, or do you plan to use it locally? And you'll see, again, analytics, survey administration, so something like a SurveyMonkey, SurveyGizmo, tends to be cloud-based. And again, we took them through a long list. Office Productivity Suite is kind of interesting. You might think that that would have very high cloud-based usage for something like a Zoho, a G Suite, a Microsoft Office 365. Again, keep in mind this is weighted data, so this really reflects the results of the smallest businesses, and they tend to have the slowest cloud adoption and likelihood to move into the cloud going forward. Why is it that small to mid-sized businesses are moving to the cloud or have adopted the cloud? Again, we gave them these response options and we just said, basically, yes or no for each of them. And you'll see again, the motivators to migrate to the cloud vary by company size. So for the smallest, anywhere, anytime access to applications, if you like, alliteration, is the biggest. For what we call small business, 20 to 99 employees, they're actually motivated by cost savings, and for the biggest businesses, improved functionality, so wider suite of services. So the point of this slide is not like this is what you need to take back to your marketing team and tell them to how to create messaging. The point is small businesses vary in their preference. So for your particular category, for the niche that you're serving, the drivers of migration may vary quite a bit. The key point is, the better you understand what the motivators are for your particular audience, the better, obviously, you can message to them around what's relevant. Here we asked kind of sort of the same question, what's important to you about cloud applications, whether you're using them currently or you have a plan to adopt, some or all of them. Integration is really key among actually companies with fewer than 100 employees. That's the number one concern. So the degree that you can say, it's going to be easy for you to port data from one application to another. That is really going to resonate. For the biggest businesses, there's actually a variety of concerns that are kind of tied for highest. So best-in-class solution. So being able to say that at the very least you're really good at one of the things that you do is really important to, again, what we call the MBs, the biggest businesses. Comes from a vendor that specializes in your industry. So to the degree that you can say, we've got a great set of case studies, reference accounts, or we can present research around what's happening in your industry. Being able to really demonstrate success stories in a particular vertical resonates. And again, for all small businesses, regardless of size, they don't think of themselves as small businesses. They don't think of themselves as fast growing or slow. They think of themselves as whatever their domain is, a CPA, an architect, an engineer. So to the degree that you can say we've helped other folks like you succeed, that's really going to resonate, and especially with the biggest businesses. And then finally, training and support. Especially for bigger businesses, it may potentially be a relatively significant investment for them. So they want to know that you're going to help them succeed, with the integration, with the migration, with training, all of those aspects. Who do they want to buy from? Now remember, we asked this question of the principal, so CEO, owner, founder, someone like that, and they may or may not be intimately familiar with the issues of actually migrating to an application and what that involves. So, for them, all other things being equal, they'd rather buy direct than from a partner. So I think, what this says is that a lot of businesses don't necessarily understand the value a partner can bring in terms of consulting, application integration, all of that good stuff. That's it. So if there's any value that we can bring in helping you market to SMBs, we'd love the opportunity. We do have a lot more data on this and other topics relevant to SMBs. My email address is there, lower left, if you would like a copy of this deck or other research on SMBs. Sunir, thank you for the opportunity to present.
Thank you so much. A couple interesting points I think some of us can use in our own planning is like number one was integrations was the driver. It's a good argument internally. And then actually what you said about people not wanting resellers, actually as you go higher up the size, there actually is demand for using reseller partners, but we're probably underserving that category. So a couple of good takeaways. And maybe also good to steal your methodology and ask those questions of your own customers to see if you can build up some understanding of your own customer profile while asking the same kind of things that you did. So thank you very much. And this data will be shared with everybody.
Yep.
Thank you.
That's great. Okay, thanks.